This is a recorded lecture for the IB DP Design Technology. We're looking at topic 2.2.3 and 2.2.5. This is SL content, design and theory, and we're looking at virtual prototyping. From the IB, prototypes can be developed in both physical and virtual, that's digital form. You must be able to discuss the purpose of prototyping and how it is used in design and product development. Now, specifically, we're looking at CAD, which is used to create virtual prototypes to test ideas and gather insight that inform the development of a product. Again, I've mentioned this with any prototype. That is the essential idea that we are testing. Well, first of all, we're communicating ideas, then we're testing them, then we're gathering those insights to inform the development of that product. You must be able to explain how and why designers use virtual prototypes. These include surface and solid models, generative design, digital humans, motion capture, haptic technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, and of course, finite element analysis. So first of all, computer-aided design. This is the use of computer software to aid in the design process. We at our school use Fusion 360, but you might use SolidWorks or Rhino. There's a lot of different computer-aided design. Those are all 3D computer-aided design. For 2D design, you might use Illustrator, you might use AutoCAD. There's lots of different options for you. And of course, this is a CAD model right here. And this was created with the use of a computer, in specifically Fusion 360. A virtual prototype is a photorealistic digital computer-aided design, so CAD-based interactive model that uses surface and solid modeling. So this is just an example of that. This is a hinge, and you can see the parts of the hinge, pin of the hinge, and the barrel of the hinge, and of course the holes. So this is just an example of a virtual prototype. From this, you can do things like finite element analysis. So this is a digital model calculation and simulation of unknown factors in products using computer-aided design. For example, simulating the stresses on a welded car part. I've shown this before, but this is a finite element analysis, or an FEA, on the rack that I just showed earlier. And you can see that we've applied a force here, and we can see what the stresses and strain are on that. Solid models are virtual digital models, and they are clear representations of the final part. They provide a complete set of data for the product to be realized. And this is going to give us all of the internal data also. So for instance, we can see the interior parts. We can do measurements on all of the parts. So all of this is going to have that full set of data for the product to be built. A surface model is just a virtual digital model representing the outer appearance or form, offering some machining data. Surface digital models contain no data about the interiors of the parts. So they might have surface information, like, so for instance, you can see the size of this right here. This is a useless box, but we don't have any data about the interior of this particular product. Same with this mouse right here. You can see it's really pretty, it's great, but there's nothing inside. It's basically a hollow shell. And that's what a surface model is. It's the shell, it's the outside, it's nothing on the inside. Virtual reality is the ability to simulate a real situation on screen and interact with it in a near natural way. So often with virtual reality, we'll be using virtual reality goggles like this gentleman's wearing right here, but also there's these next level treadmills. This is pretty interesting stuff where you can really immerse yourself in a virtual reality where you can actually move around in that virtual reality. And that's what this right here is. This is a VR treadmill. It's pretty interesting. Have a watch of this video and see what you think. Augmented reality is a technology that uses a device to superimpose a computer-generated image onto a user's view of the real world. Interactions include sight, sound, touch, engagements, and extended reality. And this is just an example of that. This is a product from IKEA where you can say, hey, I have this space. I need a chair. Let me look at what these different chairs will look like in the space that I have. So the space is real. The chairs aren't. That's the augmented part, and they superimpose the chair onto the background space. Have a look at this video. It'll give you a good understanding of what augmented reality is. Generative design is an artificial intelligence-driven software used as an ideation technique to generate a range of digital model solutions based on prompts and constraints provided by the designer. This is a text to image generator. It's called Project Salvador. It's used by Fusion 360. It'll give you an image of the product, but it won't give you an actual product itself. So it's really just giving you sort of a design for the product. There are more complex generative designs. I don't have them because they're quite expensive, but there are, and I imagine they're going to get cheaper, but there are other generative AI models that will give you optimized designs that evolve. Pretty interesting stuff. I was doing some research on that. And so I think this is a brave new world where there's going to be a lot more of this generative design idea that's based on artificial intelligence. Digital humans are digital simulations of a variety of mechanical and biological aspects of the human body. This is an example of a digital human based on a swimmer. So they would take laser scans of an elite athlete, and then they digitize the movements, and they can do sort of motion capture and see how this person is swimming through the water. And they use digital humans for a lot of different things. So for instance, you can use them as like a car crash dummy. So rather than putting an actual physical car crash dummy in an actual physical car, what you might do is use the digital humans in a virtual design, so a CAD model of a car, and that way you can save money because physical models and physical crash test dummies are expensive. Motion capture is the recording of human and animal movements by any means, for example, by video, magnetic, or electromagnetic devices. This is the guy who played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes videos. You can kind of see there's a bit of a resemblance. It's interesting. He also played Smeagol or Gollum in the Lord of the Rings, but he's an expert in this motion capture, and he gets wired up with these different motion capture sensors, and then he acts, and then that is changed into realistic animation in the films. Haptic technology is a really interesting aspect of computer-aided design and virtual prototyping. It's a technology that enables the user to interface with simulated touch sense via a haptic device or a glove. So this is a company that has a wristband that you wear, and it allows you to hear sound if you're hearing impaired. Often people who are hearing impaired will have the brain processing centers to actually process sound, but they may not have the actual sensory equipment to send the signal to the processing center. So they'll have the place where you can process sound, but not the mechanisms to actually hear the sound. And the brain is super adaptable. It can actually co-opt other senses in order to use those signals and process them as sound. And that's what this company does. It sends a haptic signal through this wristband, and it will allow people to actually hear sounds. And of course, training is involved, but it'll allow them to co-opt the sense of touch for the sense of hearing. It's pretty interesting stuff. And you can watch this video, and it shows people using this haptic device, and they can actually hear music for the first time. It's pretty interesting. Thanks for watching.